Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet this little fox backpack. So for my backpack I used a 4mm crochet hook, and in this video I am using US terms. So thank you very much for watching, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos. To begin your bag, you want to start off by making a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, you want to take your yarn and you want to take your finger and you want to wrap the yarn around your finger once and then twice. Then take the first loop and pull it over the second loop, and then take the second loop and pull it all the way over your finger. You then want to take your crochet hook, go in through the space and pull tight. And there you have a slip knot. So once you have your slip knot, you now want to make your foundation chain. And for our foundation chain, we are going to chain 20. So you want to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 20. So I have just finished working my foundation chain of 20, and now we're ready to move on to round 1 of our bag. So to begin round 1, you want to start off by chaining 3 on top of your foundation chain. So chain 1, 2 and 3, and this chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So now we're going to work our next double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. So here is the first chain from the hook, here is the second and the third. So here is the 4th chain from the hook, and into this chain we are going to work our next double crochet. So to do a double crochet, you want to yarn over and go down into this chain, the 4th chain from the hook. Yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back down into this same stitch here, and we are going to work another double crochet into this stitch or into this chain. So this is the 4th chain from the hook. So yarn over and go back down into the exact same chain and work a second double crochet, and then along with the chain 3 that we just skipped at the beginning of this round, this counts as 3 double crochets all into this first chain. So now what you want to do is you want to work 1 double crochet into each of the next 18 chains. So 1 double crochet into 18 chains, or all the way along to the bottom except for the very last chain. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next chain here and work 1 double crochet, then do 1 double crochet into the next chain. So just 1 into each chain, then 1 into the next one, and just continue to do this all the way along until you have 18 double crochets, or until you get from the second to last chain. So I have just finished working those 18 double crochets, and I have 1 stitch or 1 chain left at the end of my foundation chain. So there is my slip knot, and there is my last chain. And into this last chain we are going to work 6 double crochets all into the chain. So 6 double crochets all into this very last chain. So yarn over and go into the chain and work 1 double crochet, then yarn over and go back down into the exact same chain and work a second one, then yarn over and go down into the same chain again and work a 3rd double crochet, then a 4th, a 5th, and finally a 6th. So you want to do 6 double crochets all into that last chain. And when we do those 6 double crochets, what we are actually doing is we are turning the corner. So we did a slip knot, and then we worked our foundation chain up, then we worked double crochets all the way back down, And then when we did our 6 double crochets into this last stitch, we are turning the corner. So now for the rest of round 1, we're going to work up the opposite side of the foundation chain. So on the opposite side of our chains that we worked at the beginning of our bag. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work 18 more double crochets, 1 into each stitch, working along the opposite side of our chain. So here you can see is our first stitch that we're going to go into. This is the stitch that we just worked into, so this is the next one along, and we're going to go into the opposite side of the foundation chain, so yarn over and go into the opposite side and work 1 double crochet, then work 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and do this until you have 18 double crochets in total. So like that. So there I have done 1 double crochet into each of those stitches, and when you get to the end of this round, you should find that you have just 1 stitch left to work into. And into this stitch we already have 3 double crochets. So at the beginning of this round we worked 2 double crochets into the 4th chain from the hook, and those are those double crochets there, 1 and 2, and then this stitch is the chain 3 that we worked and then skipped at the very beginning. So here we have the equivalent of 3 double crochets all into this chain. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back into this exact same chain and work 3 more double crochets. And then once we do that, we will have 6 double crochets all into this last chain or last stitch, just like we have 6 up this end. So yarn over and go into the last chain here, which has already been worked into, and work 1 double crochet, then work a second one, and then work a third one. So 3 double crochets all into this last chain, and then we're going to finish off the round by doing a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that we skipped at the very beginning of the round. So when we worked into the 4th chain from the hook, we skipped 3 chains, and those 3 chains counted as our first double crochet. So you want to go into the top of that chain 3, which is here. You can see we have the first chain that we skipped, the second chain and the third chain. So you want to go into the 3rd chain of that chain 3 and work a slip stitch. So to do a slip stitch, you insert your hook into the chain and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So there we have finished round 1 of our bag, and we are ready to begin round 2. So we are now on to round 2 of our bag, and to begin this round you want to chain 1, and our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work 2 double crochets into each of the next 3 stitches. So into this one, and this one, you want to do 2 double crochets into each stitch. So yarn over and go down into this very first stitch here that our chain 1 comes out of, as our chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So go down into this first stitch here and work 1 double crochet, and then yarn over and go back down into the exact same stitch and work a second one. So 2 double crochets both into this first stitch, then yarn over and go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this one. So 2 double crochets both into this stitch, and then do 2 double crochets both into the next one. So we have 3 sets of 2 double crochets to begin round 2. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 18 stitches. So we're going to do 18 double crochets, 1 into each stitch. So go down into the first stitch and work 1 double crochet, then do the same thing into the next one along, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet into the next one, and do this until you have 18 along. So like that. So I have 1 double crochet into 18 stitches, and go back and count and make sure that you have 18. So now we're going to do 6 sets of 2 double crochets into each stitch. So into each of the next 6 stitches, you want to do 2 double crochets into each stitch. So for this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So yarn over and go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this stitch. So there we have one set of 2 double crochets. Then do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So 2 double crochets both into this stitch. Then do 2 double crochets both into the next one along. So there we have 3 sets. Then we're going to do a 4th set. So 2 double crochets both into this one. Then a 5th, and then finally a 6th. So 6 sets of 2 double crochets into each stitch like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do 18 more double crochets. So 1 double crochet into each of the next 18 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 18 double crochets. So I have just finished working those 18 double crochets, and once you have done that, you should find that you have 3 stitches left to work into. So I have 1, 2 and 3, and into each of these 3 stitches we are going to do 2 double crochets. So we want to do 3 more sets of 2 double crochets into each stitch. So yarn over and go down into the first stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this one. Then do 2 double crochets into the next one. And finally 2 double crochets both into this last stitch here. So 3 sets of 2 double crochets into each stitch. And then to finish off this round, you want to do a slip stitch into the first double crochet that you worked. So here we have the first double crochet that we worked at the beginning of the round. Here is the chain 1, and you do not want to go into the chain 1. You want to go into the first double crochet that you worked and work a slip stitch. So insert your hook into this first double crochet and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. So there we have round 2 completed, and we're ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 3 of our bag, and for the rest of the length of our bag you simply want to do 1 double crochet into each stitch around. So we're just going to do rounds of double crochet until our bag is long enough. So you can do as many or as little rounds as you like, but just do rounds of 1 double crochet into each stitch until your bag is long enough. And in each round you should have 60 stitches. At the end of round 2 you should have worked 60 double crochets around, so you should work 60 double crochets in every single round for the length of your bag. So to begin each round you want to chain 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then you want to yarn over and go down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and work 1 double crochet. Then do 1 double crochet into the next stitch and into the next one, and just do this all the way around, 1 double crochet into each stitch. And this should be 60 in total, so 60 double crochets, 1 into each stitch around. So I have finished doing 1 double crochet into each stitch around for round 3, and then to finish the round you want to go into the first double crochet that we worked at the beginning of the round here and work a slip stitch. So finish every single round with a slip stitch. So that is how we're going to do our rounds of double crochet, and you can do as many rounds as you like depending on how long you want your bag to be. So you can do 5 rounds, 10 rounds, 20 rounds, it's up to you, but just start each round with a chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and then do 1 double crochet into every single stitch around, which should be 60 double crochets, and then finish each round with a slip stitch into the first double crochet that you worked. So keep repeating those rounds for the length of your bag. So I have finished working those rounds of double crochet, and I ended up working 14 rounds in total, including the third round. So I have worked 14 rounds of 1 double crochet into each stitch, including round 3. And now we are going to move on to making the flap of our bag, which is also going to make our little fox's face. So to begin round 1 of the flap of our bag, you want to start off by chaining 1, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now to begin round 1, we are going to do 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. So when we do 2 double crochets together, we are effectively turning 2 stitches into 1. So we're going to do 2 double crochets, but we're not going to complete either of them, and then we're going to complete them both together at the same time. So we're turning 2 stitches into 1 for 2 double crochets together, and you want to start off by doing 2 sets. So 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. So to do your first set of 2 double crochets together, you want to yarn over and go down into this first stitch here, yarn over and pull up a loop as you would with a normal double crochet, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops as you would with a normal double crochet. But you do not want to complete the stitch. Usually we would yarn over and pull through these 2 loops to complete our double crochet, and we're not going to do that. We're going to leave this double crochet incomplete and move on to the next one. So you want to yarn over and go down into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there we have a second incomplete double crochet, and you should have 3 loops on your hook, and you want to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So there we have worked 2 double crochets together, and we have turned 2 stitches into 1. So there we have 1 set of 2 double crochets together, and now we're going to work a second set. So yarn over and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we have 1 incomplete double crochet, then yarn over and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops again. So there we have 2 incomplete double crochets, and yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And there we have our second set of 2 double crochets together. So once you have done your 2 sets of 2 double crochets together to begin round 1 of the flap, we are now going to work 22 double crochets. So 1 double crochet into each of the next 22 stitches. So yarn over and go into the next stitch here and work 1 double crochet, and we're completing our double crochets now, and then work 1 double crochet into the next stitch and the next one, and do this until you have 22 double crochets, 1 into each stitch. So like that, so 22 double crochets. And now to finish off round 1, we're going to do 2 more sets of 2 double crochets together. So 2 more sets of 2 double crochets together, just like we did at the beginning of the round. So yarn over and go into the next stitch and start to work a double crochet, but do not complete it. And then yarn over and go into the next stitch and work another incomplete double crochet, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So there we have 1 set, and then work a second set in the exact same way, like that. So there we have round 1 of the flap completed, and now we're ready to move on to round 2. So we are now on to round 2, and to begin this round you want to chain 1 and turn. And to start this round we're going to do 2 sets of 2 double crochets together, so just as we did last round. So yarn over and go down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and do 1 incomplete double crochet. Then yarn over and go into the next stitch and work a second incomplete double crochet, and you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. So there we have one set of 2 double crochets together, and we're going to work a second one. So work a second set. So like that, so 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. And you now want to work double crochets all the way across your row until you get to 4 stitches from the end. So we're going to work 1 double crochet into every single stitch along until we get to the last 4 stitches. So here we have the last stitch, second to last, third from last, and fourth to last. So work 1 double crochet into each stitch along until you get to this stitch here, so 4 stitches from the end. So I'm going to yarn over and go down into the next stitch and do 1 double crochet and do a double crochet into the next stitch, and do this all the way along until 4 stitches from the end. So I have just finished working double crochets all the way across, and I have 4 stitches left. And it's really important that you don't count your chain 1 that you worked at the beginning of round 1 as a stitch. So here we have our little chain 1 here, and this is not a stitch. This is the first stitch that we are counting. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 stitches left, and into these 4 stitches we're going to work 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. So just as we have done before, work 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. And when we work a set of 2 double crochets together, we are cutting out 1 stitch. So in each round or each row, we are decreasing by 4 stitches, as we have 4 sets of 2 double crochets together. And that is going to give us the point for our fox's nose. So that is what we have done for round 2, and we're now ready to move on to the next round. So we are now on to round 3 of the flap of our bag, and for the rest of the flap you simply want to repeat round 2 again and again and again. So we're just going to keep repeating round 2 until we have a point at the end. So for round 2 you chain 1 and turn and do 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. Then you work 1 double crochet into each stitch along until you come to 4 stitches from the end, and then finish off by working 2 last sets of 2 double crochets together. And that is what you want to continue to do, so continue repeating round 2 again and again and again, and you will find that your rounds will decrease with each round that you do. So we're going to start off by chaining 1 and turning, and then doing 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. So go down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and work your first set. Then do a second set of 2 double crochets together in the exact same way. Then work 1 double crochet into each stitch along until you get to 4 stitches from the end. Okay, so like that. So I have 4 stitches left, and it may be easier to turn your work over to see your 4 stitches. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this little stitch is the chain 1, which we're not counting. And then finish off the round by working 2 last sets of 2 double crochets together. There's 1, and then there is a second one, like that. And then we're just going to repeat that again and again and again. Chain 1 and turn, 2 double crochets together, 2 double crochets together, double crochets all the way along, finishing with 2 last sets of 2 double crochets together. So I have repeated that round for a few more rounds, and then when you get to the point where you have just 6 stitches across your row, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, you want to chain 1 and turn, And rather than doing 2 sets of 2 double crochets together to start each round, you want to do just 1 set. So we're going to do 1 set of 2 double crochets together to start this round. So this is when you have 6 stitches across your row. And then you want to work double crochets all the way along until you have just 2 stitches left. So count back 2 stitches, so 1 and 2. So I have 1 more double crochet left to work. And then work 1 set of 2 double crochets together to finish off this row. But whilst working this very last set of 2 double crochets together of this round, I'm going to change colour to a black for my fox's nose. So I'm going to do that whilst working this last set of 2 double crochets together. So as you can see, I have started my set of 2 double crochets together like I just showed you, and all I have left to do is yarn over and pull through these 3 stitches or these 3 loops. But I'm not going to do that with this colour. What I'm going to do is drop the yarn that I was using and take my new colour or my new yarn, place it over the end of my crochet hook and pull it through. And there I have finished off the stitch and the round using my new colour, and I have my new colour ready to begin the next round with. So you can fasten off the colour that you were using, so cut your orange yarn, leaving a tail or end to weave in later, and we're ready to move on to the next round with our new colour. So to begin this round, you want to chain 1 and turn, and now we just have 4 stitches left, and so we're going to do just 2 sets of 2 double crochets together. There are no double crochets in between these sets. We're just doing 2 sets of 2 double crochets together using our new yarn or our black yarn, and this black yarn is going to create the little fox's nose. So there we have 1 set, and then we're going to do a second set. So like that, so there we have 2 sets, and now for the final round you want to chain 1 and turn, and then work 1 last set of 2 double crochets together. So we have just 2 stitches left, so do 1 last set of 2 double crochets together to finish. Then pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, and you can see we have a nice point for our fox's nose. So once we have got to this stage of our bag, we are now going to make our fox's chest. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a cream semicircle, which we are then going to sew here to make his white or cream chest. So to start off your semicircle, you want to start off by doing a slip knot, just as we did at the very beginning of our bag. And now we are going to chain 4. So you want to chain 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then into this very first chain that we worked here, we are going to work 5 double crochets. So into this chain, work 5 double crochets. So yarn over and go down into the chain and work 1 double crochet. Then go down into the same chain and work a second one, then a third, a fourth, and a fifth. And then the chain 3 that we just skipped at the beginning when we worked into the 4th chain from the hook count as our first double crochet. So this, along with our 5 double crochets that we just worked, count as 5 double crochets all into this stitch. So there we have round 1 of our semicircle completed, and we're ready to begin round 2. So we are now on to round 2, and to begin round 2 you want to chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now for round 2 we're going to do 2 double crochets into every single stitch along. So at the end of round 1 we had 6 stitches across, and by the end of this round you should have 12. So you want to yarn over and go down into this first stitch here and work 1 double crochet. Then yarn over and go back down into the same stitch and work a second double crochet into this stitch. then work 2 double crochets both into the next stitch and 2 into the next, and do this until you have 6 sets of 2 double crochets. So like that. So I have worked that all the way along for round 2, and now we're ready to move on to round 3. So to begin round 3, you want to chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now for round 3, we are going to do 2 double crochets into one stitch, but then 1 double crochet into the next, then 2 into the next and 1 into the next, 2 into the next, 1 into the next, all the way along. So go down into this first stitch here, as our chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and work 2 double crochets both into this stitch. So 2 into this first one, so then into the next stitch work just 1 double crochet. So 2 then 1, then go into the next stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this one, and then do 1 into the next one, and continue this all the way along. 2 1 2 1 2 1 for round 3. So like that. So I have worked that all the way along for round 3, and I have finished off by doing 1 double crochet into the last stitch, and now we're moving on to round 4. So to begin round 4, you want to chain 1 and turn, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now for round 4, we're going to do 2 double crochets into one stitch, but then 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So 2 1 1 2 1 1 all the way along. So yarn over and go down into the very first stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this stitch like that. Then yarn over and go into the next stitch and do 1 double crochet into this stitch, and then do 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So 2 1 1. So then repeat that again. We're going to do 2 double crochets both into the next stitch, then into the next one do 1 double crochet, and into the next one do another individual double crochet, and just repeat that all the way along for this round. So we are now on to round 5. I have finished working that all the way along for round 4, and we're on to round 5. And to begin this round, you want to chain 1 and turn. So round 5 follows the same trend. We're going to do 2 double crochets both into one stitch, but then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So we will have 2 double crochets into the first stitch, 1 into the next, 1 into the next, 1 into the next. 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 all the way along. So yarn over and go down into the very first stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this first stitch. Then do 1 double crochet into the next one, 1 double crochet into the next one along, and 1 double crochet into the next one along. So 2 1 1 1. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets both into the next stitch, 1 into the next, 1 into the next, and 1 into the next one along. And just repeat this all the way around. So I have worked that all the way along for round 5, finishing off with 2 1 1 1, and we're now ready to move on to round 6. So to begin this round, you want to chain 1 and turn. So now round 6 is very similar to the last few rounds. It follows the same trend again. We're going to do 2 double crochets both into the first stitch, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, and then repeat that all the way along. So I'm going down into the very first stitch that our chain 1 comes out of, as it does not count as a stitch, and working 2 double crochets like that. So 2 double crochets into the first stitch. Then you want to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So 1 2 3 and 4. So 4 double crochets. And then repeat that again and again and again all the way along for this round. 2 double crochets both into the first stitch, then 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 double crochets. So once you have come to the end of that round, so the end of round 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, you want to fasten off, so pull your yarn out and your hook and cut your yarn, and we have finished our semicircle. So we have finished our semicircle and we are going to sew it here on the top of our bag, and this will act as the white part of our fox. So when you fasten off, so when you cut your yarn, make sure that you leave a very long tail. So I'm going to leave a really long tail, and then I will use that tail or that end that I cut off to sew my semicircle to my bag. So once I fastened off, I went ahead and attached my semicircle to the top of my bag. So I just used the end that I had fastened off and then a yarn needle. So using this yarn needle and my end, I just went all the way along the top of my bag using the whip stitch, and I have a clip showing you how to do that, which I will show in a second. So for the whip stitch, you always go in the same side. So you go in this side with your needle, pull your yarn and needle through, and then come back through to the same side. So you're always going in this way, and make sure that you line your stitches up evenly and that you work evenly across, and make sure that you are lining them up with the bag or with the flap of the bag. So there we have finished the main part of our little fox bag. So now we just need to make the ears and then add some eyes and the straps. So we are now moving on to the ears of our fox, and to begin the ears you want to start off by making a slip knot again in the exact same way as we have done before, and then you want to chain 2. So make a slip knot and chain 2. So like that, then into this first chain that we worked here, so into the first chain that we worked, you want to yarn over and go into the chain and work 1 double crochet. So 1 double crochet into the first chain. So we made a slip knot, chain 2, and then did a double crochet into the first chain. So there we have completed round 1 of the ears, and this is going to make the top. So this is the point, and we're going to work outwards to make our triangle. So what you want to do for round 2 is you want to start off by chaining 1 and turning, and this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So then into this first stitch here, so this is the 1 stitch from round 1, yarn over and go into this stitch and do 2 double crochets both into this stitch. So do 2 double crochets both into this first stitch for round 2. So there we have round 2 of our ears completed, and we're ready to move on to the next round. So now for the rest of our ears, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start off each round with a chain 1 and turn, and then you want to do 2 double crochets into the first and last stitch of the round, and then 1 double crochet into any of the middle stitches. So no matter how long your rows get, you always want to do 2 double crochets into the first stitch of every row, and 2 double crochets into the last stitch of every row, and then into all of the stitches between them, just work 1 double crochet. So we're going to start off this round by going down into the very first stitch and doing 2 double crochets both into this stitch. And then last round we only worked 2 double crochets, so we do not have any middle stitches. So the next stitch is the last stitch of the round. So just go into this stitch and work 2 double crochets both into this one as well. So 1 and 2, like that. And now we're going to move on to the next round, which is the exact same thing. Chain 1 and turn. and we're going to do 2 double crochets both into the first stitch, so 1 and 2 like that. But now you can see we have some middle stitches. We have 2 middle stitches here, and then here is the last stitch, and here are the 2 middle ones. So into each of the middle ones you just want to do 1 double crochet into each stitch, and you will find that with each round you will have more stitches in the middle. And then this end stitch, you just want to work 2 double crochets both into this stitch, so 1 and 2. And then we're going to repeat that round again, chain 1 and turn, and do 2 double crochets into the first and last stitch of the round, but then work 1 double crochet into the middle stitches. So we have 2 double crochets both into the first stitch, so now just do 1 double crochet into every stitch in the middle. So there's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then into the very last stitch do 2 double crochets into this stitch. So I have finished making my ears, and you just want to keep repeating that row again and again and again until your ears are the size that you want them. So I went ahead and did that for 2 ears. I did 2 of the orange ears, and then I made 2 little white ears, and I did these in the exact same way as the orange ones, but I did 1 row less. So I did 1 row less for the white section of the ears than I did with the orange section, and then I also used a smaller crochet hook. So for my fox I used a 4mm crochet hook, and for these 2 white sections of the ears I used a 2.5mm crochet hook. Then I went ahead and sewed these 2 together and sewed them to the top of my bag, and then I gave my fox 2 eyes, and then I chained 80 to make the straps. So I took some black yarn, chained 80 and attached it at the top and the bottom on both sides. So I made 2 straps of 80 chains and attached them both in the middle at the top and then down the bottom of each side. And I have finished my fox. So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it easy to follow. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more crochet videos, and thanks again for watching. Bye!